Hey, what's up? My name is Gabby. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing another huge book haul. Because it's already that time, you know, I feel like in the summertime, I'm buying a lot of books, publishers are sending me a lot of books, and also, I have to say a huge thank you to everybody who's sending me books off of my wish list recently. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm just feeling so lucky and so loved and so amazed and overwhelmed by all of these books, and I'm so excited. I have probably, if I had to guess, it's probably at least 50 books that are sitting right in front of me. I know, it's insane. But before we do jump into the book haul, I wanted to say a huge thank you to today's video sponsor, which is Endel. And Endel is a really great app for anyone like myself who has struggles with focusing or has struggles relaxing or unwinding, especially at the end of a long day. I think this is a very helpful and useful app for anyone who's struggling with stressful things or feeling like they need to be more productive, or even for things like having a hard time sleeping, which, you know, I've talked about time and time again how I deal with a lot of really bad insomnia issues, and so apps like this can be very helpful because Endel is an environment-based app that takes everything they know about sound and combines it with cutting-edge technology. So what that means is that Endel will create these personalized soundscapes that will help you to relax, to sleep, or to focus. Endel is informed by science, created by science, and backed by science. I honestly feel so much more relaxed the minute I open the app because as soon as you open it, it just starts playing these very relaxing sounds, and the whole aesthetic of this app is just really relaxing and comforting. I think it really helps me too to stay focused, but to also stay relaxed and comfortable throughout my day, and it really helps, you know, soothe you into a very deep sleep with the sounds. Like, I love listening to sounds like this before I go to bed. It really makes my sleep so much better, and it helps me fall asleep a lot quicker than I would have otherwise. It's really awesome because it's AI powered, and so it adapts in real time to personal inputs like location, weather, and heart rate. And brainwave studies have shown that Endel has the fastest, most consistent focus versus playlists that are on streaming platforms. So if you're also struggling to relax, definitely be sure to check out the link down below. The first 100 people to download Endel at the link down below will get a week free of audio experiences. And thank you so much once again to Endel for sponsoring today's video. And now let's get into the book haul. Alright, so first things first for this book haul, I wanted to show you some recent book of the month picks. This was in the month of August. I picked Girl Forgotten by Karen Slaughter, which this is actually, I think it's the sequel to Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter, and now that I've read Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter, I don't actually know if I'm interested in this one anymore because of how much I disliked Pieces of Her. So I think I'm gonna wait on it for a while, see if this one's getting any decent reviews, and then decide if it's something I want to pick up. And then I also ended up picking up The Devil Takes You Home by Gabino Iglesias. And this one is a kind of like thriller horror novel from Book of the Month that I'm so excited about. It also did come with this translation guide, so I'm assuming there's some, you know, quite a bit of untranslated text in the book, so this will be very helpful with that. But I do have this one on hold for the audiobook at my library right now, so this is one that I'm hoping to read somewhat soon. The next two books that I got came from Penguin Random House. The first one is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, and this is one that I am so excited about. I mean, first of all, this is stunning. Do you not think this is like one of the most beautiful books you've ever seen? Like, I'm kind of obsessed with the spine. Like, look at the back, it's like all rainbow. Okay, but besides the aesthetic of like this book is so beautiful, I've been hearing such good things about this one recently. Like, this one just came out, and it's I believe it's like a contemporary story that follows these two friends who were often in love but never lovers, and they come together as creative partners in the world of video game design. And then it's kind of like a story that spans for a lot or most of their life, if I'm not incorrect. And so I've just heard really good things about this one. I also do have the audiobook available to me from Libro, so, you know, please let me know if you think this is something that I would enjoy, because I am excited to pick it up, and I think I will try to pick it up sooner rather than later. But let me know, because I've just been hearing from so many people that it's like one of their favorite books of the year, that it really like was emotional for them, and I'm just so curious about it, you know, like I think it might be my thing. I'm excited to read it. And then they also sent All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers. This is a recent thriller that was just published, and the reason I'm especially intrigued by this one is because the author is the girl from the podcast Crime Junkie. Yeah, you know, the really successful true crime podcast called Crime Junkie, which I've listened to a few times. She is one of the girls from the podcast, so I was like, that's freaking cool. I know, same with like one of the other girls that's one of the podcasters from Morbid. She also has a thriller that's like publishing this fall, and I'm like, that is so freaking awesome. So I've been seeing really good reviews for this one. I don't really know anything about it other than it's like a small town thriller. I think it has like 2 time periods and it jumps back and forth. So I'm really curious about this one. I think I'm gonna wait for a minute to see the reviews coming in to see if it's gonna go up to the top of my priority list. Next up, Sourcebooks sent me The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. Ashley Winstead is definitely already becoming one of my favorite authors just because of In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. I did read this one at the end of August, and this book was a lot. This is a new thriller from this author, and this book, it's heavy, okay? It involves some heavy things, heavy trigger warnings, and it's definitely a book that you have to be in an okay mind state to read something like this. This book, it involves this true crime podcast, it involves a sex cult, and it kind of does have a similar thing with In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, where it's like, you know, there's 2 time periods that you kind of jump back and forth. Like, you get to see their college days of like things that were happening when they were in college, and then it's taking place like 10 years later or something like that when they're doing a podcast on what happened. It's a lot, you know, like the sex cult in this book. It's some very hard things to read about in this one, so just know that before going in. I'm so excited because Berkeley Romance was kind enough to send me 3 of their recent romance picks. They sent me Love in the Time of Serial Killers, which this is also one that I just read at the end of August. I can link down below the reading vlogs where I read some of these books if you missed it. But yeah, this one is one of my most anticipated romances because of the, you know, the fact that it has to do with like another true crime related thing. Because we have our main character, Phoebe, who is kind of obsessed with true crime and true crime podcasts, and she starts to think that her neighbor Sam is a serial killer. And then it's kind of a romance between her and Sam, and how she starts to find out he's not a serial killer, but he's actually like the softest man alive. This book was such a roller coaster of emotions for me, but at the end of the day, I really ended up enjoying it a lot, and I related to the main character a lot, and it was just a good time. They also sent Love on the Brain, which is the new Ali Hazelwood. This is the same author as The Love Hypothesis, and I'm so excited to read this. I actually do want to be reading this one in September. I think I have plans to read it soon, and this is one that I'm excited about and nervous about because a lot of people either say it's just as good or just as fun as The Love Hypothesis, or they're saying it's like a rinse and repeat exact copy of that book. So I don't know, I'm gonna go in with an open mind. I'm excited to read it. And then they also sent me Addicted to You, which this is a book series I think that I've been hearing about for such a long time, and I saw it on their, you know, request form for influencers, and I was like, I mean, do I do it? Like, I don't know. I'm kind of nervous that maybe this won't be my thing, but I just thought, why not give it a shot, you know? This one just says 2 best friends, liars, lovers, addicts, one epic love story, and I think it's about a girl who's addicted to sex. And so I don't know, it sounds like it could be interesting, like we'll just have to see. I just like, as soon as I showed this book in a video that I mentioned that I got this book from the publisher, I had a number of people being like, yeah, you're not gonna like that. So now I'm like scared. And then I'm also very excited because Flatiron Books ended up sending me White Horse, which this one is a kind of like thriller horror novel that's coming out in November this year. This one, the premise of this one kind of reminds me of like The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones, because she receives this old family bracelet that once belonged to her mother, and it calls up both her mother's ghost and a monstrous entity. What? And it says, haunted by visions of her mother and hunted by this mysterious creature, Kari must search for what happened to her mother all those years ago. This one just sounds really interesting and like it could be really gritty and dark. It also follows an indigenous woman, and it's an Own Voices story. So I'm just very curious about this one. It is coming out in November, and it just sounds like it could be really good. All right, next up, Atria Books ended up sending me The Family Remains by Lisa Jewell, and when I first got this in the mail, I was like, oh my god, what the heck, like a new Lisa Jewell that I haven't heard of, like what is going on? And then I realized that this is actually a sequel to The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell, which actually makes sense because I think I did hear that this was coming out, but I wasn't a huge fan of The Family Upstairs. But now that I'm reading the inside here, it does say it's a standalone sequel. And so now I'm confused and I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I am a pretty big fan of Lisa Jewell's thrillers, and that's why I'm always so like grateful, because Atria Books is always sending me the latest Lisa Jewell books, which just makes my heart so happy. But also I'm nervous because since I really didn't enjoy The Family Upstairs, I'm not sure, because this is the sequel, if it's something that I'm interested in reading. So I guess if you have read this book, if you could let me know, like, how much of a sequel is it? You know, like, do you think I could still enjoy this if I didn't enjoy the first book? I don't know. So for now, I'm putting a pause on this one, but oh my god, thank you so much to Atria. Like, that is so kind. I also did get a few other romances in the mail from St. Martin's. They sent Mistakes Were Made by Meryl Wilsner, and this one goes on sale October 11th. And this is a female-female romance that I'm actually so excited about because it involves this woman. Her college is having family weekend, and then her mom's best friend is the woman that she ends up like with in this book. And so we're talking, you know, female-female romance, and then it's super forbidden because it's her best friend's mom. And then we're also talking pretty big age gap between the two women. So like there's a lot of things about this book that intrigues me. Like the idea of it really intrigues me. So I'm very excited. However, I'm also scared to read this because this author's first book was one that I didn't enjoy too much. I think it was called Something to Talk About. And that one was just fine for me. So I'm hoping this one will be better. But yeah, oh my god, I'm so excited. It just sounds so cute. And then also recently, Wednesday Books just sent Never Ever Getting Back Together by Sophie Gonzalez. This you might recognize as one of my most anticipated books of the year because oh my god, this just sounds so cute. I mean, I am a little nervous because I do think this book is actually young adult, which I didn't initially realize when I was putting this book on my TBR, but it's so cute because it involves like a bachelor type of show where this dude is the bachelor and then there's these two girls and one of them is like his ex-girlfriend or something like that, but then it's about how she starts to fall for the girl that he cheated on her with. Oh my god, I can't deal with this. Like, I love, like, lately I will read anything, and I love the trope where there's like a reality dating show and then the contestants start to fall for each other instead and it's gay. Like, I'm sorry, that's just my favorite thing ever in the world these days, and so naturally I'm hyped for this one. I can't wait. And then Second Sale Books, they're like this bookish website where you can get books discounted, like you can thrift and it's cheap, and you can also sell your books on second sale. They recently sent me 5 books because I did this very exciting Instagram giveaway collaboration with Second Sale. So if you're not following me on Instagram, definitely be sure to do that so you can participate in future giveaways that I do. But it's basically like I was able to give away a $25 credit or something of that nature on Second Sale's website so that you can get $25 worth of any books that you wanted. And so to do the post, they also sent me a credit to get whichever books that I wanted for the post. And so I ended up getting a few used books like Joyland by Stephen King. They had this one on there for super cheap, and so I just went ahead and bought it because I do think this is one that I am planning to read at some point. I think I might try to include this one in my classic horror video. I'll have to double check to make sure which year this came out to see if it would like fit for that kind of video, but I'm very excited to finally read Joyland. I've heard really good things about this one. I also ended up getting The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, which I think from what I understand from this description, it's like a cozy mystery kind of thriller book. This book takes place in a peaceful retirement village where 4 unlikely friends meet together to solve mysteries together. I don't know, it sounds like it's gonna be really cute, and I've just been hearing a lot about this book, so I ended up getting this one. I also got Under the Rainbow by Celia Lasky because after reading this author's book, So Happy For You, I am like so excited and down to read any book from this author, and so this was actually her debut, if I'm not incorrect. I think this was her first book. Just says, when outsiders on a mission arrive to change a small town's attitudes, residents and newcomers alike end up transformed. So I don't really know what to expect with this. I think it's like contemporary with like maybe a touch of like mystery thriller vibes. I don't really know. But I just love this cover and I love this author. So far, I'm really impressed. So I really want to read that one. And then they also sent Pretty as a Picture by Elizabeth Little. This is another kind of like backlist thriller that I've had my eye on. This one just sounds really cool, to be honest, because it involves a movie director, an isolated island, and a decades-old murder. And we follow an up-and-coming film editor. Like major fun, so I just decided to pick this one up. And then also they sent Growing Things by Paul Tremblay, which I know, you know, you would think that I have sworn off Paul Tremblay for good, and to be honest, I really had. I actually ended up getting this one before I read the Paul Bearers Club, so now I have this. This is a short story collection from Paul Tremblay. It says, this chilling collection that blurs the lines of psychological suspense, supernatural horror, and literary fiction. So like, I don't really know what to expect with this one. I think I'm still curious about it because it's short stories, you know, so like if I really hate it, then the stories are short, so like I can get through them. I don't know, I have a used copy, so there is like a library binding on this one, which is fine. But yeah, let me know, I guess, your thoughts on this one if you've read it, if you still think I would enjoy it, because at this point with Paul Tremblay, I just don't know. And then this next ginormous stack of books are all books that people have sent me off my Amazon wish list recently. Like, holy crap, thank you so much. Like, you have no idea how generous and kind that is. And every time I get mail, like book mail that I wasn't expecting, it literally just makes my whole day, and it makes me so happy. And so thank you so much to everyone who just sent a book on this list that I'm about to share, this whole list right now. Thank you, that's amazing. So to start off, Tara sent me Crossroads by Laurel Hightower. This is a horror novella that I ended up reading for that horror novellas video that I did last month, and this was incredible. 5 stars, really loved it. But also wanted to warn you that this one is pretty dark and graphically violent, and there's a lot of trigger warnings for self-harm related things. But oh my gosh, this was so enjoyable. Thank you so much, Tara, for sending this my way. I also wanted to say a huge thank you to Jill for sending me 2 books. She sent me Yolk and Blood Sugar, which these are both 2 of my most anticipated reads. Yolk is actually a young adult contemporary story that I've just heard really great things about. I've heard it has a really good sister relationship in this book, and I love how, look at that, it's connected. It's like their hands are connected on the freaking book. Isn't that so cool? So yeah, I'm just kind of obsessed with this, and I'm so excited to finally get the chance to read this one because it's been on my TBR for a long time, so thank you, Jill. And then also Blood Sugar, which is, this is a thriller that I've been really intrigued by. I'm kind of obsessed with this cover. I just think it's so beautiful and colorful. And this one, we follow this female serial killer, and then I think it's a situation where her husband or her love interest is diabetic in this, and that's kind of why it's called Blood Sugar, I think. I don't really know. I only know of my friend Katie, I think, that's read this book, and she thought it was okay, I think. So I don't know, I'm still excited to read this one. I think it's so beautiful. So thank you so much to Jill for sending it my way. Marisol also sent me 2 books. She sent me Dear Laura, which is a horror novella, and Pen Pal, which I think is so awesome that she sent me both of these books, because I've actually heard from friends, because I actually read Dear Laura for that horror novella video that I just did, and I didn't end up enjoying this one very much. Like, sadly, it was a 1-star book for me, but a lot of my friends were like, well, if you didn't like Dear Laura but you liked the premise of it and like the plot concept, then you need to read Pen Pal, because I guess they actually have similar plot things happening in them, or they both involve like letters, like anonymous letters, and like that kind of creepy vibe. So that is so cool that Marisol ended up sending both of these my way, so thank you so much. And yeah, so Pen Pal is a horror novel that I am very excited to get to. I've just heard so much about this book over the years, like I'm excited to finally get the chance to read it. And then the lovely Natalie Johnson sent 2 books off my wish list as well. She sent Gone to See the Riverman, which this is another horror novella, which all I've heard about this book so far is that it leans pretty far into the like extreme horror genre, which is something that I don't know if I've read anything from yet, so I'm kind of scared. But also I'm just really intrigued by this because it's just, on the back it just says super fans, groupies, stalkers. I think it involves murder. I just think I've heard everything about this book is so awful and so hard to read, so I know I'm definitely gonna have to be in a good mental health space to read something like this. But I'm also really excited because I've just been seeing it around so much, and I'm definitely curious, you know, like I just really want to read it. So thank you, Natalie. And then also she sent freaking Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey, which this is actually my BookTube pick for the month of October, so that is very kind. Thank you so much, Natalie. I'm sorry, I was so distracted looking at the back here because I just saw it said Taylor Swift, and I was like, hold up. It says, for fans of Netflix's Black Mirror and Taylor Swift's song No Body, No Crime. What? I just noticed it said that on the back. How weird. Marie Claire said that. She literally just, like, Taylor Swift. Are you kidding me? Okay, I just got 10 times more intrigued than I already was. But this one is a darkly gothic thriller. Perfect for fans of Netflix's The Haunting of Hill House. I'm so excited for this. Thank you, Natalie. And then the lovely Patrick ended up sending me 3 books off my wish list. He sent me Below by Laurel Hightower, which this is another horror novella that I included in the horror novella video that I did last month. And this one involves the Mothman. It's like very creepy, you know, very short, effective, creepy. Enjoyed it. He also sent I Know You Know, which this is a backlist thriller that I've been so intrigued by for such a long time. I've had this one on my TBR for a while. Just says it's about 2 shocking murder cases 20 years apart and the thread that binds them. But the thing that intrigues me the most about this one is that it says it follows a filmmaker named Cody Smith, and he starts a podcast to record his findings. So, you know, there's quite a bit of things that intrigue me about this. I mean, the idea of following a filmmaker and then starting a podcast, I mean, it all sounds very intriguing and promising. I'm excited to read this one. And then he also sent Needful Things by Stephen King, which, like, holy crap, this is massive. This is, you know, one of those Stephen Kings that I've also had on my TBR for such a long time, and I always wanted to get around to it eventually. And so now I have it. Thank you so much to Patrick. And then Adrian sent me And Then I Woke Up, which this is another horror novella. I swear, I was getting a few more horror novellas after I already finished the video that I did, so unfortunately it didn't make it into the video, but this is another one that I'm so excited about. This one actually just recently published too, and this one, from what I understand, it involves like zombies or something. It says, in a world reeling from an unusual plague, monsters lurk in the streets while terrified survivors arm themselves and roam the countryside in packs. Like, I can't deal with this. I'm so excited for this one. Like, I keep telling myself maybe I should save up a bunch of more horror novellas and do a whole video like that again, but then part of me is like, I need to read this literally now, like immediately. It just sounds like it's gonna be so cool. So thank you so much to Adrian for sending this. And then Alicia was so kind to send me 3 books off my freaking wish list. She sent me Lightning by Dean Koontz, which I am so excited to finally try a Dean Koontz. Like, I've never read anything from this author before, and this one, I was reading a lot of the different premises for his books, and this one just sounded the most interesting to me. I think it involves like some kind of time travel-y aspects to it, and so I'm glad that I finally have my hands on this one. I kind of do love mass market paperback size of it. I don't know, it's kind of cute, it's kind of small. It's just adorable, and it's brand new, so like, thank you so much. And then she also sent Cirque Berserk, which is a horror novella that I did get the chance to read for that video, and this one actually ended up being one of my faves, shockingly. And this one is like a slasher kind of horror novel that takes place in 1989, and it's just super fun, super interesting, and there was a lot more to this story than I originally thought there would be, so that is awesome. And then also she sent The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry, and this is a thriller that I've been hearing about for such a long time. Like, a lot of people have really recommended me this book over the years. This one, a lot of people say it's comparable to like The Push, because it involves, you know, a child that is not so perfect. You know, it involves a child that is probably a little demon child that makes their lives so hard, and I just can't wait to read it. And then Stephanie recently sent me The Dead Romantics, which this is a romance book that I'm so excited about. This one's been on my TBR for quite a while too, and this one just keeps popping up. Like, people just keep letting me know they think that I would really enjoy this one, which makes me so excited and so happy. And this one, it follows this woman who's a ghostwriter, and then there's actual like ghosts or something in this book too. So there's like some paranormal aspects to this. Like, I don't know, I've seen a lot of people saying like there's more to this than just the romance. Like, there's some really cool aspects to the story that they think that I would like. So it has me hyped, you know, like I really want to read it. So like, thank you to Stephanie for sending it to me. And then the last books I most recently just received came from Chris. So like, thank you, Chris. They sent Ghost Story by Peter Straub, as well as Catherine House. And both of these books are ones that I've heard of for such a long time. You know, Catherine House is one that I hear about from most of my friends. Like, most of my friends have read this one, and most of my friends really love it and say it's like such a weird book. I've heard this compared to like Bunny over the years, and just, you know, a lot of really strange kinds of books. This one says it's a seductive, gothic-infused debut of literary suspense set within a secluded elite university and following a dangerously curious, rebellious undergraduate who uncovers a shocking secret about an exclusive circle of students and the dark truth behind her school's promise of prestige. Sounds hella cool, you know? I've just heard such mixed things. I'm so excited to finally get the chance to read it. And then also Ghost Story by Peter Straub. This one, if I'm not incorrect, I think this is more like a classic. I'm not too sure which year this was published. Yeah, this was originally published in 1979, and I've just heard that Peter Straub is like comparable to like a Stephen King kind of author, you know, so I'm definitely interested in checking this one out. It just says it takes place in the sleepy town of Millburn, New York. 4 old men gather to tell one another stories, some true, some made up, and all of them frightening. But one story is coming back to haunt them in their small town, a tale of something they did long ago, a wicked mistake, a horrifying accident, and they are about to learn that no one can bury the past forever. Ooh! I've heard really good things about this one. This book is sitting at about 500 pages, so it's a little thick, you know, it's a little on the thicker side, but I'm excited. I think it's gonna be really good. Okay, and then these last couple of books are all books that I've bought myself in the last, you know, month or so. I did buy quite a bit of manga, so I thought I would show you that first because I did buy Death Note Volume 1 from Barnes & Noble. As soon as I saw this edition with like the black sprayed edges and like this design is just stunning, And you know, I've heard Death Note get recommended to me so much throughout the years, like just in general, even before I really got into manga, I had always heard about Death Note. People always be talking about Death Note. It's like that iconic, like I know the dude's face from this book, you know what I mean? Like I've just seen it around. And so these editions are really cool because it includes volume 1 and 2 in this edition. So I'm really excited. I'm hoping to read this volume soon. I also bought the first 2 volumes of Spy Family from my local Barnes & Noble because I originally borrowed this one from the library and I loved it so fucking much that I literally went to my Barnes & Noble and bought both of these because I was like, I need to tab this. I need to like experience it again. And so I'm obsessed with Spy Family. I'm obsessed. Like seriously, if you want to get into manga and you're not sure where to start, I feel like these are so universally great and cute. It follows basically a family of spies, but they're like a fake family because the whole mission is to try to get a kid into the school, and so he needs to find a fake kid and a fake wife, and it's just it's so cute. It's so good. And then I ended up getting the entire collection of Orange. This is the entire collection. I believe it's only like 3 volumes long, if I'm not mistaken, like 3 or 4 maybe volumes long. And this is the entire collection in here. So I'm really excited to give it a shot. This is a manga that keeps getting highly recommended to me anytime I ask for something that's kind of like more cute on like the contemporary romance side of things. And so I'm really excited to read it. Just flipping through the art in here, it looks adorable. And so I'm so excited that I finally got this one. This one just follows these high school students and it's a cute romance. And then I also bought the second volume of Blue Flag because I read the first volume from my library in August and I absolutely fell in love. Like this shit is so cute. This is basically like the manga version of Heartstopper. So if you're a huge fan of Heartstopper, this is like similar to that because we follow a boy who's kind of like more, you know, tall and athletic kind of a guy, and then the other guy, our main character, is really kind of like small and awkward, and it's about how they're starting to realize they might have feelings for each other. But it's like a really cute situation because this guy, our main character dude, is really close friends with this girl who has feelings for this dude, and then she's trying to get close with him so that he can talk to him more about her. It's like this whole like love triangle setup kind of situation, but it's mainly about the 2 boys realizing they might have feelings for each other, and it's just it's everything. Like I'm loving this manga series so far, so glad I got the second volume. I'll be reading this very soon. And then the last 3 books that I bought for myself this month, I ended up getting Never Let Me Go from my local Value Village. I saw this, it was only there for about $3 and I was like, yes, because I've heard quite a bit about this book over the years. I've heard it like compared to like Black Mirror. People are saying it's kind of like weird, like that vibe. I don't really know anything about it, if I'm being honest. I don't know a single thing. But I'm really excited to check this one out. This is actually the movie poster, that's the book cover, but I honestly don't mind because I really do like this cover. I think it's really cool. But the movie stars Carey Mulligan, Andrew Garfield, and Keira Knightley. So I'm like, I need to read this book so I can watch the damn movie because it sounds so good. I also ended up getting Look Closer by David Ellis. This is one that I just got recently because, as I mentioned in my TBR video, if you missed it, this is a thriller that was highly recommended to me, and I'm going to be including it in my next reading vlog of like reading your thriller recommendations. And so very excited to finally get around to reading this book. I literally have never even heard of it, and it got recommended to me so much for that video, so very much looking forward to this. And then the last book that I bought for myself is Dracula. Oh my gosh, isn't this stunning? Oh my god, just take a second and just look at it. This one, if you're wondering, it is like the Barnes & Noble, I think, edition, or at least I found it at Barnes & Noble, and it has the most beautiful end papers. It has sprayed edges. It even has like one of those little like bookmark things in it, like the little red bookmarks. And this edition was only like, if I'm remembering correctly, it's only like $15 at Barnes & Noble. Like it is kind of a steal. And I ended up getting this one because, as I have mentioned a few times before, I'm planning on doing a video in October that's going to be like reading classic horror books. And so I wanted to include Dracula in that list because I feel like Dracula is one of the essential classic horror books. And so I'm so excited that I finally got this copy. I always knew if I were to get a copy of Dracula that it would have to be this one because I see these in Barnes & Noble every time I go and I'm like, those are stunning. Like I love the soft, like they're almost kind of like paperback, and hardback at the same time. Like, I don't even know how to explain this, but I love the style of this. Like, I want to own all of the classics in this style, at least for the classics that I love, you know? So hopefully I enjoy this one because I'm never getting rid of this book, even if I hate it. Sorry. All right, so those are all of the books that I have to haul today. I know, it was a lot, I told you. But I'm so excited about all these books. I feel really good about it though, you know? I feel like I'm hauling so many good books lately. I'm really starting to get into the manga recently, which just makes me so happy. Like, I'm really finding a lot of joy in reading manga recently, which has been an exciting, you know, life change update. And once again, I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who's sent me something off my Amazon wish list. Like, what the heck? It literally makes me so happy. And I just feel so grateful and thankful to have such loving people watching me. Like, it's so sweet. Thank you so much. And yeah, so let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know what your thoughts are on them. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know which books you've hauled recently that you're very excited about. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time with a new video. Bye.